Memphis sleeps beneath a canopy of fading stars. But in the royal workshops behind the Temple of Ptah, Amenhotep is already at work. His bronze chisel finds the grain of black granodiorite by instinct alone. 40 years of stone dust settled into the creases of his hands, the calluses of his palms. The air smells of river silt and lamp oil. Somewhere beyond the mud brick walls, the Nile breathes in its ancient rising, flooding the black land with promise. Amenhotep does not think of kings or gods or empire. He thinks only of the stone, its resistance, its secrets, its willingness, finally, to yield. He is a humble man who speaks the language of eternity. He does not yet know that eternity is about to demand something extraordinary from him. Within the inner sanctum of the Temple of Ptah, where lamp-black smoke coils toward painted ceilings and the air hangs heavy with Kaifi incense, Amenhotep kneels before High Priest Harmachis. The weight of the summons presses upon him like the granite he has shaped his entire life. Harmachis unfurls a papyrus bearing the cartouche of Ptolemy V himself, a decree proclaiming the young king divine, immortal, beloved of the gods. It must be carved in 3 scripts, across black granodiorite, permanent as the stars above Kemet. Amenhotep's calloused hands tremble almost imperceptibly. One mistaken chisel stroke, one character imprecisely rendered, and the gods themselves would be dishonored. He accepts the commission with a bowed head, unaware that the sacred words he is about to immortalize are already the subject of dangerous, secretive hands. From the granite quarries of Aswan, carried 600 miles on the swollen Nile, it comes. 8 men strain beneath its mass as the black granodiorite slab grinds across the workshop threshold, trailing dust like a god entering a temple. Amenhotep presses his palm against its surface. Still warm from the southern sun, dense as compressed centuries, its crystalline flecks catching lamplight like trapped stars. This stone is not quarried rock. In the theology of Memphis, black stone holds the darkness before creation, the silence before the first word of Ptah. It breathes with potential. Around him, apprentices fall instinctively quiet. Even the river sounds distant. Amenhotep circles the slab slowly, reading its grain, its hidden fractures, its character. For what a carver does not understand, he destroys. He does not yet know what this stone will demand of him. 3 men bend over stretched papyrus in the lamplight. One trained in the ancient tongue of pharaohs, one in the flowing hand of common Egypt, one schooled in the Greek of conquerors. Amenhotep watches them work, his calloused fingers tracing the air above their marks. For the first time, he begins to understand what his chisel must preserve. A king's legitimacy, purchased in tax exemptions and priestly favor, translated across 3 civilizations simultaneously. The ink smells of carbon and river sediment. The hieroglyphs soar like sacred birds. The Demotic curves like water-finding stone. The Greek marches in disciplined columns. 3 languages, 1 authority, and Amenhotep realizes, with quiet awe, that what he carves will speak to every eye in this fractured world. But not every scribe, he will soon discover, intends to say the same thing. The chisel bites into black granodiorite with a sound like whispered thunder. Amenhotep's hands, calloused from 30 years of sacred labor, move with the precision of a man who understands that stone remembers everything. Lamp black and red ochre mark his guidelines. The hieroglyphs, the Demotic script, the Greek letters of a king who rules 3 languages at once. Incense drifts heavy from the inner sanctum, mingling with granite dust and river-damp air. But something disturbs the rhythm of his work. A figure stands at the workshop entrance. The temple official Harkuf, present again, still as a heron, watching. Not the casual curiosity of a passing administrator. Something colder. Something deliberate. Amenhotep does not look up. He carves. And slowly, with the patience of stone itself, the unease begins to take a shape he cannot yet name. The oil lamp gutters in the humid Memphis night, its amber flame casting long shadows across the workshop floor. Amenhotep's fingers, calloused and ink-stained, freeze above the papyrus scrolls spread before him. Two versions. Side by side in the wavering light, the difference is almost imperceptible. A single altered phrase buried within the Demotic columns, reshaping the king's sacred concessions to the temples, erasing Ptolemy's generosity stroke by careful stroke. Someone has used the carver's faithful hand as their instrument of deception. The chisel that was meant to speak truth for eternity has nearly carved a lie into imperishable granodiorite. Amenhotep's breath comes shallow. He understands now what his silence would mean, and what speaking out could cost him. Tomorrow, the high priests will come to inspect his progress. The sacred pool reflects a sky the color of old bronze. Amenhotep stands at its edge, sandaled feet on warm limestone, heart thundering beneath his linen robe. Across the still water, Qaim Waset, senior scribe, keeper of temple seals, a man whose ink has erased inconvenient truths before, watches him with eyes utterly without mercy. The threat arrives not as shouting but as something far more dreadful, a quiet certainty, delivered between breaths, carrying the full weight of priestly authority. The smell of sacred Kaiphai incense thickens the air, until breathing itself feels like submission. Amenhotep's calloused hands, hands that have spoken truth into stone for 30 years, curl slowly at his sides. A man can be silenced. Stone cannot. Tonight, alone in the workshop, he must make his choice. Through the breathless dark of a Memphis night, with only the guttering flame of a tallow lamp to guide his chisel, Amenhotep works alone. The black granodiorite sweats cold beneath his palms. Around him, the Temple of Ptah sleeps. Priests, conspirators, and gods alike. Each blow is muffled in linen-wrapped cedar, each stroke deliberate, trembling with consequence. The smell of hot stone dust mingles with the damp breath of the flooding Nile beyond the walls. He carves not for glory, not for kings, but for something older and more unforgiving than either. Truth. His hands ache. His back bows like a temple door under immense weight. But the words emerge pure, unchosen, indelible. Stone does not lie. Stone does not forget. By dawn, the decree stands exactly as the gods intended, and Amenhotep understands that discovery, and its terrible price, is now inevitable. The flood season has passed. Memphis breathes again beneath a sky of hammered bronze. In the great courtyard of Ptah's temple, incense coils upward in lazy spirals as priests in white linen consecrate the stele with sacred oils and hymns older than memory. The black granodiorite catches the morning light. Every chiseled hieroglyph, every Greek letter, every word of Demotic script exactly as the king decreed. Exactly as Amenhotep cut it. He stands among the crowd of merchants, laborers, and pilgrims, a single man of calloused hands and quiet eyes, watching the stone he nearly died to preserve receive its divine blessing. The priests do not know his name. They never will. But the truth endures in the stone, immovable as the gods themselves. What those words will one day reveal to an unimaginable future, no soul in Memphis could yet conceive. The floodwaters recede. Memphis breathes again beneath a copper sky. Amenhotep sets down his iron chisel for the last time, running calloused fingers across the cold, black granodiorite. 3 languages carved in perfect register, each stroke a small act of defiance against oblivion. The stone smells of iron dust and river damp. He does not know what he has preserved. He cannot know. He is simply a man who chose truth over silence, who let his hands speak when his voice could not. The decree of Ptolemy V will be consecrated at dawn, carried to its resting place amid incense and priestly chant. Amenhotep watches the torchlight play across the glyphs he has cut so deep, so true. And somewhere in the vast, indifferent future, a world that has forgotten everything is waiting to remember.